Hi, Ms. Jenkins. How we doing?
We're doing great.
All right,
Class,
first day of really the true online distance learning at Powhatan. So, how was your first day?
it was wonderful. It was great. The kids were very receptive. Everybody was well prepared. I had 100% get on their classes, able to navigate, and it was an excellent day.
Awesome. A few words that really describe your classroom come to mind as being engaging, energetic, a commitment, striving for excellence. How did you translate that classroom culture into an online format?
Well, I thought it was real important to take a few days just to kind of get the kids used to the digital learning that they were going to do. We couldn't just jump in head first. We had to take baby steps, just like we do the first day of school. It was almost like going right back to that very first day. One thing is that I wanted to make them feel comfortable. So of course I brought a lot of the things that I did in my classroom. I brought them into my home, into my virtual classroom as well. They needed to have those established routines. They needed to continue those, so they knew what to expect because everything's new, and it's so nice to have familiar things there that they can remember and they can attune to. So some of the things that I did is that we do a morning message every day. They get a message from me. Now, one thing that is new that they really love is that I'm able to make it a little bit more cinematic. So sometimes I will have crazy costumes on. I do a joke of the day using Snapchat
That's
filters.
great.
So they really enjoy seeing that. They look forward to the joke of the day. I also share with them a list of what we're going to do every day when they would come in Powhatan. They'd walk in the door. Up on the smart board, I had our agenda for the day, so they knew exactly what to expect. And the exact same thing is happening now digitally. They come in and they can look up and they pull up their screen, and it has the same cactuses and succulents that I've used in the background. So it's everything is kind of like, oh, I've been here before, and I'm able to understand what's going on, and I can go ahead and move forward with my day.
That's great. So really giving them a feel like, in a way, as close as you can, that we are back in the classroom and we're back with
Right,
normal school.
right. And
Cool.
just some other activities that I did is that just this past week, we always had spotlight authors where they would, when they did a writing piece, I always selected two that we would put up on our board at school to make sure that everybody saw. We talked about the reason they were selected. And so luckily when they came back to school, that was something that we had just finished a narrative piece. And so I was able to showcase our authors online, which they love to see that. And I even have the board in my classroom here at the house. And I said, it's up, and we showed everybody. So that was neat. Another thing we were doing is we were doing a March Madness book challenge. So the kids had to read 16 books, and then we were voting to get down to the book of the year. And that very easily transferred into the digital classroom because I was able to send out Google Forms where they could do their voting on the Google form. And tomorrow we announced our 2020 book of the year. So they're really looking forward to that. And some other things that we've done is that we've even figured out how to play games like 7 Up, and we've done Cahoots. So we're just easily trying to take these familiar things that kind of anchor them to our brick and mortar classroom and bringing them over here so that they have a sense of being comfortable and they're able to go on with their learning for the day.
Oh, that's fantastic. I know that in your classroom, your focus with third graders, especially throughout the year, is really having them become more independent. All of a sudden, in the middle of the year, we have this. How does that translate online?
Well, you know, like I said, baby steps. We're having to do that. So, yes, third grade is kind of that transitional year. We've gone when they are definitely, I always say to the kids, before third grade, you learn to read. And then from third grade on, you read to learn. So they have to become so much more independent in their thinking and in their writing and their reading. So one of the things that, like I said, what we did is that if we were still in the classroom at this point in time of the year is when I start to back away and I start to let them start taking ownership of their own learning, to do their own research, to kind of take all the skills that we've taught in the beginning of the year and be able to apply them. And like you said, now we are stuck in something completely different. And so how do we deal with that? And so the main thing I tried to do when we last week and we'll continue on, is that the first thing is we set norms of what this classroom looks like. And we would talk about, okay, so when we're in the regular classroom, are you allowed to shout out? And they were like, no, and I said, so how did you let me know? And they would raise their hand. And I said, well, in our digital classroom, when we have our Google Meets, you can't just shout out. You have to, we had to develop a way for them to ask questions. So in the chat box, now they put a Q. When I see the Q come up, I know, oh, this person has a question. And I'll say, okay, this child, go ahead and ask your question. And then they can unmute themselves and they can ask their question. So we're learning how to transfer these things that we've always done in the classroom that just seem, second nature. But now we're having to really think through those processes. How is this going to work in our new environment? And they've been doing a great job. I've done a lot of tutorials with the kids. We've been, last week I did a lot of technology challenges. They saw them as fun little activities, but really what I was doing is I was teaching them how to use the technology, how to submit forms, how to submit items into a Google slide, how to upload papers to me. Some of the things we did last week is that one day we had Fort Friday, and the kids had to build a pillow blanket fort at their house. They had to take a picture of it, and they had to upload it to a Google slide. And then when we had our Google Meet, I shared the slide with everybody so we could see each other's forts. Another thing they did is show me signs of spring, and they had to go out and take pictures of spring, and they had to upload it into a Google slide. So while they see these things as fun, exciting activities, really the underlying was for me to be able to teach them skills that they're going to need to be able to move forward for the rest of the year.
Hey, and that's our motto too. We learn not for school, but for life. And
Right.
That's a perfect example. Awesome. Any kind of last thoughts on your kind of first day of the true distance learning?
Really the only thing is that I'm just preaching to everybody, just patience and grace, because I'm still trying to find that sweet spot. You got to
Sure.
find the spot that you can give enough work, but not too much. And with digital, it's hard to kind of judge that because you're not there with the class, be able to get that immediate feedback.
Right.
And so I've been, communication's been a big thing. I've been communicating with my parents. In fact, I just did a meet with my parents to get feedback. I send out emails very frequently to them. I'm going to do some sort of Google form for them to give me feedback so that I can kind of put it all together.
Sure.
Because that is just really patience, grace, communication, and feedback until we can kind of get this all under our belt and really take off with it. But it's been interesting. It's been fun. I like
Well
it.
done. Well done. Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I hope it helped.